Or I can stop. All right. Okay. Everybody kind of see this? Can someone shake your head? Chase, can you shake your head? Everything's good? Okay. Um, okay. So the first slide. So this is, I like to kind of let you guys check this out. These are, I should probably update this. This is like a couple years ago. These are some of the schools, most of the schools that we've, F, our Photo Club athletes are now attending or have attended in colleges. This is kind of the agenda for tonight. We're going to start with just the gist of college recruitment, then the interview, best practices, and then questions and answers. Okay. This, I want to kind of go through our idea. I probably should add in freshman year. Um, hopefully, I think there are some rising sophomores and juniors, and maybe I think a couple freshmen here. I think through this process, um, through the time, you have to be ready. I think when you're doing this, you're trying to figure out what college you want to go to. You're gonna get to this point where like, well, like where do I go or what do I do or what do I major in? There's gonna be a lot of questions and there's a lot of different types of opportunities. So I think the earlier you start, the better. So there are freshmen here, sophomores here. Like it's not too early to think about this. Like, I know right now it's kind of weird we're sheltering in place, but if this was, if we were going to go to JOs this year, right, it would have been in Northern California. There are, there's Santa Clara University, Stanford University, Cal's across the bay, Cal State East Bay. There's colleges right there that San Jose State, that you should consider visiting. Even if you don't even want to go, they have free tours. You can start checking out the campuses. You can kind of see like, hey, you know what, this school is really big. I don't know if I really like a big school. Or hey, Santa Clara University is kind of small. I don't know if I want a small school. But like, if you don't, you won't know until you start visiting. So I think you should visit like as soon as you can. Now, with new recruiting rules for Division I, Division II, after your sophomore year on June 1st, you can actually start getting contacted by the college coaches. You can't do face-to-face yet in June, but when you finish your sophomore year in that summer, you can actually receive phone calls from them and start talking to them. They can actually start talking to you. At the end of that summer, in August, you can actually then have face-to-face on campus. It's changed. Before it was different, but now you can actually do this earlier. So your junior year is now crucial. It's changed. Like at the end of your sophomore year, you can be recruited. People were committing to colleges early on in their junior year now. And that's people are still waiting to their senior year. That's definitely the case. But now there's opportunities to do that earlier as well. So your junior year, you should be prepping for SATs, ACTs. We'll go into that a little bit later. Don't play as many video games. You should video your actual games. Make sure you're touching up your resume, creating your resume. I think it's very. We'll show you some resumes later on. I think it's imperative that you highlight all aspects of your life, academics, athletics. I know some of you do a lot of volunteer work, community engagement, maybe traveling. You never know. All those things can be pertinent to those colleges that you apply to, and you really need to showcase and separate yourself amongst other applicants. Okay, contacting coaches is huge. We'll get into that a little bit later on how to do that, especially during this time where it's like shelter in place. When you visit people's websites, it's imperative that you just don't contact the head coach. You contact the assistant coach, the co-coach, the associate head coach. You contact every coach possible, and then you got to make sure that you're ready to respond and send them information, get them the video. Your senior year, making sure you're doing your visits, whether they're unofficial or official visits. Making sure you understand the financial implications in your family when you go to college. Filling out your FAFSA. Every college has something called a financial aid calculator that you could fill out and see if you can afford that college. And those numbers are very accurate, but they're only accurate as to the numbers you put in. So if you know, one night I was kind of just there trying to see how easy it was to do. And you know what, it was easy. I could just sit there and kind of guesstimate the numbers, and I got a number back like really, sorry, I got a number back like really fast, but it's only accurate as the numbers I put in. So those financial aid calculators are very useful, but you gotta know what you're putting in. Okay. And then I got to update this, but if there is scholarship money involved on a later page, we'll talk about it. There is an NLI, a National Letter of Intent, that's moved to one date after November 1st, but we can talk about that later. Okay. Community college. I think community college is a big thing. We got to talk about it because there has been some changes in the last few years. I'm a community college guy. I went to community college myself. Actually, Coach Beamer and Coach Longelo both went community college first. Also, head coach, Alexander Rodriguez, he went to community college too. I mean, a lot of us use community college as a route to get into a 4-year. Right now, currently, if you're from California, going to California Community College, the first 2 years, if you go full time, is free. So it's huge. If you figure out that you can't really afford college, you're not really getting much aid. Right now, currently, I'm kind of struggling at my schools recruiting people because our schools are expensive and we're not giving a lot of aid to the middle class. And so community college, all of a sudden, it's appealing. If you can go there 2 years, it's free. As long as you go full time, you're going to come out more ready and ready to finish college in 4 years. And there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of teams. There's 36 men's teams and there's 46 women's teams in just in the state of California. And here are just some stats that we had just kind of pulled up on, like, I think like the Fire Academy at Mount SAC is big. There's a lot of different career placements after junior college that's available there that you can go and take right away and be ready for these careers. Okay, types of colleges. I think this is where people don't really understand, because oftentimes they hear a lot about D1s, SC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal. They don't really know what's out there for water polo, but there are private colleges out of state. Of course, there's our UCs and Cal States, but water polo has been growing. Hopefully it continues to grow. I know we added a few programs this year, some D3 programs. USA Water Polo has worked with the NC2A to kind of form a national Division III tournament so now there's a D3 championship. With that added a few more colleges, and hopefully that'll continue to have continue to add more programs. But the reason why I bring that up is that you have to consider what kind of colleges you want to go to. Whether it's a public or private, large or small, the location. We had a class a few years before Chase graduated. A lot of them were just wanting to go pure academic schools, and we had they didn't have water polo. Dartmouth didn't have water polo. I think Columbia didn't have water polo. So they actually played club. I had a class of like 8 that graduated, but they all went and played club, and they had a great time at the club system. When you're looking at colleges, a lot of people are considering, like, hey, do you want to move away from California, East Coast, West Coast? What kind of social atmosphere are you looking for? The weather, the religion. Just today, I was talking to one of our recruits that was looking at Pomona, and he realized that he wanted a lot larger school. So he told me no today, but at least he knew like that's what he wanted, right? And then also, does the school offer your major? Does the school offer the study abroad opportunities that you're looking for, the majors you're looking for? Does the water polo program allow you to take certain majors? But I know that sometimes some schools don't allow you to take certain majors because the majors are too demanding and you would miss too much of practice, or you'd be, it would be too difficult for you to do both. Okay, so these are some things that you need to consider when you're looking through the colleges that you're going to try to apply. When you're applying at colleges, now this is your senior year, there are a lot of different avenues for you to apply. You know, obviously from coming from California, UC's, Cal State systems, they have a portal for you that opens up for like 1 or 2 months. I think the UC's is like 1 month in the month of November. The Cal States are 2 months, October to November, but they're open for you then to apply, and then it filters off to the schools that you want the applications to go to. There's also the Common App. The Common App is widely used, especially amongst the private schools. Some schools have early action. Early action is not binding. They just give you a decision right away. Some schools have early decision. That's binding. If you apply, Pomona colleges, the Claremont colleges, they all have early decision. If you go early decision 1 and you get in, that's binding. That's popular amongst the Ivies. There are colleges that have rolling admissions, meaning they do have deadlines, but if they have open enrollment through the year, if they have room, you can still apply. When I was coaching at the University of Laverne, I still had people applying the summer before their freshman year because they still didn't know. And there are a lot of schools that have rolling admissions. Taking a gap year has been more and more popular. You know, each school kind of handles those things differently, but that's definitely a possibility. And then also when you do the Common App, sometimes each schools have different requirements, and some also may have supplemental essays that you have to put in. So you got to kind of do your homework. And I think it's important because sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, wait, I'll apply. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, like the application deadline is coming. Like you got to be prepared. You got to know where you want to go, right? And how you can get in, and then what's the best chance to do it. And then when, because you don't want to be caught behind and rushing and then not putting your best foot forward. Okay, and here are some of the deadlines that we see amongst. You can see it's different for all the different schools. Here's just the Common App website, the Cal State Cal State website, UC's. The NLI, I just wanted to quickly touch base with some people who had questions on this. The NLI is meant for Division I sports that offer scholarships. The NLI is basically a time period that you sign when you want to commit if there's money involved. There are schools that do this and they couple it with people who are committing. So there's celebratory letters and to kind of to celebrate, that you guys committing early or committing to schools. But in reality, a true NLI, a true national letter of intent is based for scholarship money to sign, to have an agreement that you are going to go there and be offered a certain amount of scholarship. And NLI also, it does not mean that you'll automatically get in. You still have to apply, get in, and then, you'll be able to go. Sorry, give me a second here. Okay. Tips for the college-bound water polo player. I think you gotta work hard. Obviously that's a given, right? You gotta make sure that you're ready. I think it's I've had some football athletes. They think that they can just play water polo and get into any school, and then all of a sudden they find out that the requirements are a lot higher than they thought they would be, and now they have less opportunities. I think at the end of the day, water polo, it's a small sport. Although water polo is a great avenue for you to open doors and help you get in, but you still got to fill the criteria. Okay, the criteria being the academics, the community service aspect, different things that each school looks for in an applicant. You got to be there and be ready. So how do you get ready? Well, you got to do whatever it takes. You got to get tutors. You got to ask for help from your college counselors. You got to take advantage of the resources that are out there for you. You can't just think. I mean, there are maybe a few of us, but that's few and far between where you think you can just sit down, take the SAT, do great, and then go. You got to take the SAT more than once, ACT more than once. It's unbelievable how much you do better the second, third time around. And then also when you're going through this, your freshman, sophomore, junior year, you got to go watch video. You got to go watch games. There are a lot of resources now on YouTube. You can see 2019's D1 championship game. Are you ready to play that level? Can you play that level? Is that something you want to fight for? Because it's not always a given that you go and you play right away. And you got to be realistic. We had a kid We had 2 kids go to SC a couple years, like maybe 8 years ago. At the same time, 2 kids. Okay, one kid played immediately, came off the bench freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior year, started. The other kid went there, never played a minute all 4 years, redshirted 1 year, actually went there for a 5th year, still didn't play, but he was on the team for all 5 years. You know, you gotta be realistic with your ability if that's what you want. You know, I spoke with him. He loved his experience. You know, he wished he played, but you know, at the end of the day, you got to understand what you're getting yourself into, and you won't know that unless you watch games. There's a lot of times I've talked to athletes. They come to me, they're junior, senior, they're like, "Oh, I want to apply," and I'm like, "Okay," and they want to go to UOP, you know, or Long Beach. And I'm like, "Hey, you know, what do you think? How do you think you'll do? Have you ever seen them play?" I'm like, "Oh no." You know, you gotta go. You gotta get out there. You gotta see them play. You know, you gotta see if you can see yourself uh, in that pool, playing for that coach, playing with those guys. You know, do they play a style of play that you play, or is he coaching the way you want to be coached? You know, you can't go in blind. You got to see. You got to be ready for those kinds of things, and understand what you're trying to get yourself into. Okay, and then the most important thing I think in this whole process is, especially during this time, is to be proactive. Okay, you proactive meaning, you know, are you emailing, are you calling, are you texting, you know, if you have the ability to, are you calling the office, are you emailing the assistant coach, you know, are you putting video together, are you putting a resume together, like you have to be proactive in this. I always think, like, you know, squeaky wheel gets the oil. You know, no one's going to come to you. I mean, it's rare that you know, it's even the top athletes, it's rare for an athlete just to sit there and just get recruited. You know, you got to put yourself out there. You got to do the communication. You got to do the visits. You got to do the unofficials. You got to do the free admissions tours that every school offers. You know, you got to do your due diligence out there and get out there and do your job and get noticed. Okay. Here are some things I think in your first email you should be emailing. You know, your name, position. You know, I think this is important. Some kids forget to do this. I get all the time, "Come watch my game," and I'm like, I have no clue who you are. You know, it's not, rosters aren't so easy to get sometimes. You know, your cap number, what color cap you're wearing that day. You know, graduation year. You know, make it personable. Um, you know, if you email the head coach, make it personal. If you email the assistant coach, make it even more personable. You know, I would email everybody. Try not to copy and paste. I just got a copy paste the other day. You know, I'm not Occidental College. You know, I'm not Claremont McKenna College. I'm Pomona Pitzer College. You know, just make sure that you're not being lazy. You know, and start a video account. I just learned a month ago how to use iMovie. I couldn't believe how I didn't know how to use iMovie before. It was so easy to put video together. Um, I get this question a lot. Should I do a highlight video or a full video? You should definitely do both. I think there are some coaches that will just watch the video real quick and turn it off. Maybe it's good to kind of do a highlight video to catch their attention to watch the full video. But coaches definitely do watch full videos. Before this presentation, I was kind of emailing and talking to several different college coaches, see what they're doing right now. And they're all watching video. Everybody was like, "Oh, I'm watching video, I'm watching video, I'm watching video." So you definitely got to get video if you can and get that out there. And then again, make sure you proofread. It's huge. I got people misspelling Pomona College the other day, and I think, like, hey, you know, is this kid really serious about my school? So, you know, you don't want to look bad. You know, make sure you proofread and be personable, I think, is huge. Okay, I can send this out to you guys later, if you guys want. But I think even this letter, I think it's maybe too long for the first email. I think you got to keep it nice and short. You know, to the point, information, links, attach a resume, attach transcripts, um, and then sending out your email. But again, proofreading it, to the point, making it. Here are some resumes that I like that we've had in our time. I have a template of the one with Jared Strong. That's kind of one that we've created at the club. Also, this is Dave Merriman kind of created. It's very easy for us to do. I think the couple things I do like about these is their photos are in it. You know, you guys look different out of the water, in the water, especially the girls. girls, all of a sudden you get you put a cap on, a swim cap on, and a water polo cap on, and you will look completely different. So I think an action shots with your number and pertinent information is very important to get out there. So here are some examples. And again, I can send you everybody who's on here, if you guys want one, I can send you these kind of templates so you can copy and paste them and figure it out. Okay. We'll cover this more later too, but every water polo program has pretty much some kind of database collection website. This is an example of Pomona Pizzers. You can just log on. You could even upload pictures, upload transcripts. This is a must do if you're interested in the colleges. Okay, SAT, ACT. Okay, I think it's there are some schools that are test optional, but those are few and far between. Most schools do evaluate the SAT, ACT. Some schools even offer more money if you do well. So I think it's important that you guys do your best when you take these tests. Definitely, if you can, get a tutor. Take it multiple times. Okay, it really helps. I've heard that the ACT is a little easier if you're more science-based. So that might be your route, but definitely I would take it early and see how you do. And then if you don't do well, or you think you can do better, take it a second time. And if you don't well, maybe you jump over and take the other test too, because you never know where it could help. And it could help you either get in or out, or it could get you more money. Okay, I had to update this year. Tuition did go up on all these schools. You can kind of see when you go on the websites of all these schools, they'll give you a tuition, and there'll be a high number and a low number. The low number will be just straight school. Okay, the high number will include room and board, dining, books, parking fees, and different things like that. But you can kind of see how Long Beach here is pretty cheap here, just tuition wise. But then when you stay on campus, it jumps up quite a bit. So and these high numbers aren't fixed; they're variable because you could do like a 12 meal plan, or you can live in like smaller dorms or suites or singles, and those will change the prices too. Okay. I kind of want to go over types of money that's out there, because scholarship money is a few and far between. Okay. Everybody has to fill out the FAFSA to kind of get federal grant aid. Those aids come in loans or grants or work studies. You can see athletic scholarships here are obviously the coach's decision. You can see men's teams, they can have 4.5 scholarships. Women's have 8, with a typical roster of 20 to 25. And of course, these scholarships can be divided in different ways. You can have half scholarships, full scholarships, but of course they're by coaches' decisions. I mean, I've heard some of our athletes in the past get like, maybe half scholarship money and the rest academic aid. Sometimes it can be broken up like that. I mean, every school has different kind of standards with their academic scholarships. Sometimes it's like a weighted scale. Sometimes like a 3.5 to a 3.7 is this amount. A 3.7 above is a higher amount. You kind of have to see. Not every school offers academic aid, but a lot of schools do. Just again about visits. I can catch this date, but you can start going dates August 15th now of your summer before your junior year. If they're official, you can have 5. Okay, an official visit is something that where they pay for you to come and stay on campus. Unofficials, you can have unlimited. A lot of times, a lot of programs do unofficial visits. Pomona Pitzer, we don't have a budget kind of for official visits. All our visits are unofficial, but you can still stay overnight. I know a lot of coaches do it that way. But if you are truly doing an official visit, you only get 5 of those. Okay. Just quick stats about the programs that are out there. You can see, obviously the women's programs are more than the men, but it is growing. Okay, I'll show you a website here. Let me go back. Okay, I'll show you the college coaches in a little bit. Okay, let me stop the sharing. Okay. Okay, now this is the part where we kind of the alumni. Can we start with Devin? Devin, can you introduce yourself to everybody, and then we'll go Taylor and then Chase.
Yeah, so I am Devin Holcomb. I played for Foothill starting in 2011, I believe, and graduated from St. Lucy's in 2016. I currently go to UC Davis up north. I am a fourth year, planning on taking a fifth year next year. I'm majoring in human development and minoring in education, and going to add a coaching minor next year as well.
I'm Taylor Franson. I started Foothill when I was a freshman in high school, so I believe that was about 2015. I just graduated high school this past year in 2019. I play water polo for California Baptist University, and right now I am taking my prereqs to get into the nursing program.
What's up, guys? I'm Chase Travisano. I think I started with law in 2008, and then I graduated from Damien High School in 2017, and then now I'm a third year at UCLA, and I'm majoring in political science with a concentration in international relations, and yeah.
Okay. Coach Beamer Alonso, do you have questions?
Yeah, I have actually any one of the three of you guys can jump in on this because everybody's recruiting process is different, and it will be for everybody who's on this call. But I was hoping you guys could share a little bit about what your recruiting process looked like and ultimately why you chose the schools that you did. And any one of the three of you can jump in whenever.
Yeah, I mean, so my recruiting process, I think, is a little unique to certain situations. My year that I started, but right before my senior year, was the first year that they introduced that you could commit to schools earlier. So I ended up emailing a lot of schools, going on a lot of unofficials, and coming to a decision early that I wanted to go to Berkeley, which ended up not working out for me. I think that I kind of jumped the gun on that and didn't really have all my options weighed out as best that I could have. So ultimately, I ended up choosing UC Davis. I think the biggest thing that helped me along the way was that I tried to look at myself if I was going to school without water polo. What would that look like if I didn't play at that school? Would I still be happy? And so I think Davis had the best fit for that. And then just the team camaraderie and the coaching and everything just had the perfect fit. It was a decent sized school and not in my backyard, but still close enough to home where I could come home whenever I needed to if I had to come back.
Taylor or Chase?
Yeah, my recruiting process was a little different too, with the fact that I started playing water polo when I was a freshman. So the thought of me going to college for water polo wasn't really like an idea until like I started talking to college coaches like at JOs, and like they started like not necessarily like reaching out to me, but like I just at that moment like I was like, okay, like maybe I can do this, like maybe I can get recruited by a college so that I can go play. And for me, just like Devin said, it was a lot of, okay, can I see myself here if I wasn't playing polo? Like what would that look like? And ultimately for me, like the decision to go to CBU was the fact that they were going to let me play water polo and also be a part of the nursing program, because a lot of schools won't let you do the nursing program if you're playing sports. And also the environment. I am like a religious person, so the environment at CBU fit like my personality really well.
Yeah, and then for me, I think I was pretty similar to the basics of what Law was talking about. I think freshman year I went on all the tours, all that type of thing, and then sophomore year I did heavy emailing. I emailed every coach, every assistant, and then junior year same. And then, inviting coaches to your games, club tournaments, all that type of things. And then for me, I knew that I wanted to play Division One. It's my early sophomore years when I weighed, okay, do I want to go to, as Law talked about, like, do I want to go back to the East Coast? Do I want to do more of an emphasis on school, or do I want to, go and take water, to one of the big four? And so I was between Stanford, Cal, SC, and UCLA. And then I remember one day I went and I sat with Law at Starbucks and we went through everything. And then, and I think I went and I decided I didn't want to go up to NorCal. And then, so I was between SC and UCLA. And then not to be repetitive, but just kind of like how Devin said, it was at the end of the day, without water polo, where are you going to be happy? Like, what are you going to love doing, and what type of atmosphere are you going to want to be in? And for me, I just felt more of a connection and more of a family type of feel at UCLA versus SC. So that was, after I took both my official recruiting trips, that was kind of my thought process, and then ended up at UCLA. So.
All right. Thanks, guys. I think it's important for everybody on the call to understand, like, we just heard 3 different stories, and everybody's recruiting process will be different, right? Can you guys talk about kind of your mentality through the recruiting process? I mean, I watched Taylor go through hers, and she was a nervous wreck for about 4 months. Talk to me about, ultimately, what I want you guys to say is, what is it like approaching college coaches? How did you do it? What was the most effective way? And Taylor, I want to start with you because it's funny.
Yeah, I really was a nervous wreck. It's like, how do you approach college coaches? Like, when they came to my games, like, no matter, well, I guess probably the most, the thing that helped me the most through the recruiting process was going to skills and drills, which is like, it's like this big thing where they have like people all over from Southern California go and play as these college coaches watch you. And that was really important, just because at the end you were allowed to like go and meet all the, like, any college coach that you wanted and give them your resume and just have them like know who you are. And so that was a turning point for me, because I met my coach now, Jonathan Miller, at Skills and Drills. And yeah, you go up to them and you're respectful, shake their hands, say, hi, my name is Taylor Franson. I'm interested in your school. And you talk about like what majors that they have there, and like what their team aspect looks like, and just like how they run their team and how their school is. So yeah.
Chase or Devin, you want to talk about your mindset going through the recruiting process?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely can be really intimidating. It's something that not a lot of people are used to doing, to going and approaching these coaches that you kind of see as like the dream, right, to go and play on in college, and these are people that are going to help get you there. So it can for sure be intimidating, but I think the best thing that I went through was just trying to be confident when I was going up to them. I don't think I actually ever handed a physical resume to the coaches that I went to talk to. I had them, but I emailed, I think, every school that was Division I top 25 before I would have games, and I would have a personal email and kind of see what the emailing back and forth was between them, and they could kind of get a basis of who I am. I could get to know them, and they had that digital copy of my resume. So I think just being confident, I think people can pick up on when you're nervous and when you're confident. And so just fake it till you make it, and be respectful, kind of make a pitch for yourself, right? Like, you guys are trying to sell yourself to these schools. So like, go for it.
Yeah, I think, like, just adding on to that, I think, like, not that, like, it sounds, kind of weird, like, in a way, like, don't take no for an answer. I mean, I remember for me, I emailed every school I emailed. I had to email 3 to 4 times before I got a response, no matter if it was Division I school, Division III school, everybody. Because I mean, college coaches are getting up to 100 emails a day. So just because they don't respond to you your first time doesn't mean that they didn't, that they don't like you, or they don't, know who you are. So I think, just don't get discouraged. And yeah, it takes 3 to 4 times. And then you need to, like Devin said, you have to get personable first. I made sure, you send a personal email introducing yourself, and then usually they would ask you for a resume or video. And then after that, once they kind of get a feel for who you are, then going on and then asking them, come to a game, or, just if you're, able to make this, and just being, like Law said, like respectful, polite. I see emails from a lot of, like, I've heard from a lot of people, people send things like they'll just copy and paste, like Law said, like, oh, hi, like Occidental, when, and like coaches see that, and like, they take, like, if you care, you're going to take the time to edit and look at the email. And if you don't care, you're going to copy and paste. So I think that, that goes a long ways, and just being interpersonable and just being persistent. It's a long process, and you have to just keep going out for it. Just because, someone says no, there's dozens of colleges that, people are interested in. So I think just being persistent is probably the biggest thing.
I think that's a wonderful point, Chase, because to borrow a phrase from our friend Coach Abdu, you guys need to understand the amount of emails that we as coaches are getting. We're inundated all the time. And if you're not trending in their inbox, right, if you're not constantly trying to reach out and make contact with these coaches, you may fall through the wayside, right? It's not being pestering. At some point, a coach might say, hey, we're not interested. And then you could stop, right? But until that point, if that's the school that you are interested in, make it be known, right? I want to talk next, kind of past the recruiting process. Now you guys are all student athletes, right? All at Division I schools. Give us a sense of what it's like to be a student athlete at a D1 school where water polo maybe is less a part of life and more a way of life. What does your day look like in season? What does your day look like out of season? Just give us a quick snapshot.
I think for me, for our season, it kind of goes from September, like end of September when we start school, all the way until end of April, maybe the first couple weeks of May if we get to NC2A tournament. So it's kind of a long haul that we're going for the women's season. Fall, we're mainly in 8 hours, so we only can do 8 hours of workouts or team-centered work a week, so 8 hours, and then we get into 20 hours, which is 20 hours a week. And it's kind of just like everything is water polo. I am studying with my teammates. I have study hall. I'm meeting with different tutors that have been kind of given to me, like as a student athlete, I have access to them. So I live with 6 other of my teammates in a house. So it's constant water polo stuff.
Yeah, going off of that, like you definitely have to figure out a schedule for like, okay, I have water polo at like 8 to 9 in the morning, then I have class from 9:30 to 10:30, and then I have another class from 10:45 to 11:45, and then you're like, okay, well then I have a break from 12 to 1, okay, or 12 to 2. That's when I'm gonna do some of my homework. Then I have weight room from 3 to 4. Then I get back in the pool from like 4 to 6. Okay, after 6, I'm gonna grab dinner real quick, and then I'm gonna finish my homework. So it's definitely like you definitely have to set a schedule for yourself to like make sure that you're keeping on top of all your homework and practices and just everything going on in your life at the time.
I think for me, the biggest thing, I think what a lot of people don't realize that you should realize, and I think Law can, relate to talk more about it, but I feel like the biggest thing early you have to decide on is, if you go somewhere like Law would know, if you want to go to Pomona Pitzer, there's restrictions on training. Like you can't, like you guys don't train past season all the way up until the summer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, for school, if, so you're not going to play water polo for that long. But for me, I knew I didn't want to do that. I knew I wanted to be playing. I wanted to still be playing full year round and everything. So that's why I wanted to go more towards the Division I route too. And then, so that leads me into, at UCLA. So basically, summers are, it's also different from the girls season because the men's season is only about 3 months, where the girls season is about 5-6 months almost. So, theirs is a lot longer haul than ours is, versus ours is pretty dense and compact. And especially being in fall, you graduate high school, you have JOs, and then, you're right there, you're about to play again. So, for us, it was summer, double days. And, especially when you're, my freshman year coming from Foothill, you have to get implemented right away. So it was a lot of studying, playbooks, XYZ. And then you're in season fall. So we would have practice. A few days a week would be double days. So you would have practice in the morning, class all day, and then practice in the afternoon. And then other days would be like optional, like just optional days. And it wouldn't be a double day, more like loosen outs and stuff. And then you would travel usually Fridays and then game Saturdays, come home Saturday night, and then Sunday off day, and, really catch up on studies. And then same thing back throughout the week. And then for us, NCAAs would be into December, and then you would get that whole month after NCAAs off. So you have all of Christmas break off, and then you come back. And then for us, our 8 hours is January, February, March. So then you're on 8 hours a week. And then once you come back after spring break, then you go back to 20 hours a week. And so that's when the training ramps up again. And then that ends, you have finals, and then you get a week off, and then we're back for summer for Hell Month. So that's kind of how it goes throughout the year.
And I guess last thing I wanted to, you guys already touched on it a little bit, but what was your timeline from starting with every single water polo school that you might want to play for to going down to maybe your top 5 or your top 3 to your final decision? How early on or how late on, I guess, in your high school career did you know where you're going to be playing the next fall or the next fall?
So I think that I started like junior year was when I started reaching out to coaches and just doing all the schools. And as I started going on more unofficial visits, I started to make pros and cons of those schools to see how that would work with my needs as a student athlete. And once I could kind of get rid of those schools is when it started to roll down. Like I said, I went the route of committing early. So I committed before my senior year of high school even started to Berkeley before I had decided that wasn't going to work out for me, and ended up choosing Davis, I think April of my senior year. So I started early junior year with everyone, started to whittle it down by summer, and then committed, and then reassessed and reevaluated, and ended up making my decision mid to late senior year.
So then for me, so I started I'd say probably right in middle of season, fall freshman year. I remember I was for those of you who know Matt Meyer, we were best friends, and we were sitting there talking in the quad at Damien, and he's a year above me, and our coach Grant Miller at the time came, and he both gave us each a letter. And so it was to UCLA's kind of like recruiting day almost. So we went on me, him, and our parents went on an unofficial, it's just kind of like, like an unofficial walk around the campus, like getting to be exposed to everything. And then, so I'd say that's when my first realization was of like, oh, okay, like, it's already, this is already happening early, like you got to decide and start doing things. And then, so that summer going into sophomore years, when I did all my emails, I emailed head coach, assistant coaches, everybody. And then at that time, I didn't decide, which route of water polo I wanted to go, whether that be more on the academic side, more on the polo side. So I went and I just emailed everybody that I could, and then kept emailing. And then I cut it down. I'd say about going into my junior year, I cut it down to UCLA, SC, Cal, Stanford, and then I was looking at Brown too a little bit. And so basically, like I said, I sat with law, and basically I had taken one AP my junior year, one or two APs. And I was talking to Stanford and Brown coach, and they said, if you want to, come here, you're going to have to load up. So my senior year, I was going to load up and take 5 APs. And then, so that's another thing I would say, if you can take an AP or 2 your sophomore year, 2 or 3, and then another 3, and then another 3, that's a lot better than having to take 2 and then, 6, so I think that's a big thing too. But, so then I went, and then, I was really looking at Stanford, and then So then I was set for senior year to take 5 APs, I think. And then that summer we had a club tournament, and I went on unofficials to Cal and Stanford and met with the coaches, did like a walk through the pool, the campus and everything. And then I didn't like really either of them. And then, so, I knew I didn't really want to go there. So then I redid my schedule for senior year because I knew I didn't have to take that many APs. So I'd rather just have a higher GPA in my eyes. So then I redid my schedule, and then I knew I was choosing between USC and UCLA for my whole senior year. That's the only two. And then I went on recruiting trip to SC first, and then I went on a recruiting trip to UCLA after. And my thing was I wanted to go by myself because a lot of my friends from the USA, like on the junior team and stuff, a lot of them were going to UCLA, and I didn't want that to be an influence on why I was going to go somewhere. I wanted to go because I liked the school and I knew that's where I wanted to go. So I went to both recruiting trips just by myself, just singly. And then I went to both, and then I kind of sat on it for 2 to 3 weeks. And then I verbaled to UCLA, I think in end of October, November. And then from then on, it was, the rest of the details behind everything. And then I signed my letter of intent in February. So that was my whole process.
Okay, thanks, you guys. Coach Lanza, you have anything for the crew?
Yeah, I was going to ask for all three of you, is there anything you would have done differently in preparation for college, from going from your senior year of high school into that freshman year of college, to better prepare yourself for the changes of college? Because I know that's always a challenge for student athletes, is coming in as a incoming freshman and trying to navigate all the waters with the high level water polo, but also the challenge of the academic side. So is there anything that you would have done differently, or any recommendations you have for any of our athletes for what they could do preparing themselves for going to college?
So like for girls, when we end JOs before, at least for UCs, before college starts, I had about maybe a month roughly, maybe a little bit longer before I was actually going up to school. So that was when I really got extremely motivated to come in the best that I can. So I was doing CrossFit 5 times a week. I was going to Kristen Rodriguez. I went to her Claremont boys practices double days to work out, to do swim workouts, get water polo stuff, all of that kind of stuff, because coaches can tell when you come into their program if you're there to take it seriously and if you're not. And so the biggest first impression is if you're coming in shape and ready to go, or if you're going to be the one that is falling behind the whole entire pack. So I think that's one piece of advice, is to make sure that that summer that you're training with Foothill for JOs and everything, take that super seriously. And once JOs is done, before you go to school, don't stop your training and take it as a break. That's when you should ramp up everything so that you're ready and prepared.
Yeah, I agree with Devin on that one, on working out and like keeping up your endurance and everything before you go to college. Because definitely, like, for my coach, like the first thing that he told me was like, we can tell when you guys aren't working out, like we know, because like everybody that comes back in, like we can tell whether or not they were working for it over the summer or if not. So yeah, definitely stay in shape, because it's for sure noticeable to the coaches.
I would say, I think I touched on it earlier, but I would say try to expand on AP classes. Because for me, I entered UCLA with 1 AP credit, 1 course. So I entered in with AP Psych, which was 4 units. And for those of you who don't know, so when you, like, at least at UCs, when you graduate, you have to have 180 units. And so, for example, my major is really short. So like the poli-sci major versus if you're like an engineering major, it's like 20 to 30 units less. So I would say I had to take, so like my first 2 years, I took summer school, I just took random GEs, so like, okay, so when you enter college, you have to take general education classes. So you have to take like 3 like science classes, 3 history classes, like 1 math class. And so I'd say the biggest thing would be try to get more AP credits, because I took summer school, so I would be able to graduate early / on time. So I'd say the biggest thing would be just get ahead in school, so you don't have to worry about, your summers can be entirely water polo. So you don't have to worry about school. worry about taking extra classes or taking more class. Like also, yeah, I took 4. So basically when you're in the UC, you take 3 classes. I would take 4, both winter quarters, because I wanted to get ahead and not have to worry about it, versus if you enter in with 20, 30 units already of AP credit, then you don't have to worry about any of that. And you can just take 3 classes every single quarter, not worry, and it'd be a lot more stress-free. Especially if you want a double major or if you want a minor too, then it helps a lot having credits so you can kind of do what you want. You don't have to worry about how you're going to manage everything and how you're going to balance it with water polo and, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think the big thing, the big takeaway from it's like, one of the questions too that you guys asked was time management, how do you deal with that? Well, I think time management and all the things that these alumni here are talking about, it's like is sacrifice. A big thing Devin touched on is like, she didn't take a break between her year, her senior year and to her freshman year. She ramped it up, did CrossFit, did extra, did more to get ready, and that's, to be honest, is kind of the outlier. My last couple years in my coaching 18s, I had a lot of guys want to take breaks and stuff, and to be honest, it's like, right, especially during these times, you got to get out there and you got to do your job. It's not time to take a break. It's time for you to step on the gas and go. So okay, we have time. You guys, well, at the end of this, we can bounce back. You guys can ask them questions. I think I give them a little more time because I thought you 3 were giving a lot of good information. I wanted to kind of show you guys real quick. Here on USA Water Polo, I think this is pretty up to date. If you go on USA Water Polo, you Google, this link does not work. We should tell Abdu this, but this college community directory does not work. But you can go to USA Water Polo, this college directory, and you can see this is all the colleges. The left is the men's side, the right here is the women's side, and you have direct email to all. You can see there's one coming soon here, to all the head coaches and their office numbers or cell phone numbers, and definitely would use this as a resource. Okay. All right. Sorry to bounce back and forth. Okay, the big thing I got from you guys is the effects of COVID-19 and what to do and how to be recruited. I think the biggest thing that everybody has to understand is that this is affecting the whole world. Okay, so this isn't just water polo. This isn't just our area, but this is affecting the whole world. So what does that mean? Well, I think that we need to, or you as individuals want to be recruited, you need to do your job, and you need to do more. And instead of thinking this time is it's like it's a negative time, or it's actually an opportunity. How can you develop yourself more as a student, as a person, as a human being, as a recruited athlete? Okay. I think you really have to kind of do what these guys are saying, and I think Devin said a little bit about like pros and cons, like, and all of them went on visits. Like, you really need to go and figure out who you are, what you want to become. Maybe not like, okay, I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a econ major. Maybe more like, I like math, or I like science, and then go from there and build off of that. What are the pros and cons of each school? What are you looking for? Do you like the idea of going to a small school, big school? Chase and Devin's classes, I think probably over 80 to 100 lecture hall style classes, whereas Taylor's a lot smaller. I think Taylor's average class is probably like 10 to 20. So is that something that's intimidating? Are you a better student, or do you need more attention? Do you want to have a relationship with your professor or not? And those are things that you need to understand here at this time. And now, you got to figure it out. So I think it's important that, especially if you're going into your junior year or senior year, you got to have a top 10, top 8. And it's just, and don't think of it as like, okay, I want to go 1 through 10. This is where I want to go, but really dive into it. Understand, like, Okay, maybe 4 schools that are kind of within the reach of your academic profile and your athletic profile, and then maybe 2 schools within range, like, okay, and then 4 schools that are like, you for sure will make it and for sure will go, and then rank them from there, color coordinate them, I don't know, but I think it's important that you understand, like, like it's kind of pointless to be like, I think I want to go to Stanford, but then you have like a 2.5 GPA. Okay, that's not going to happen. Okay, Chase's scenario is very real. I do remember sitting him at Starbucks, and I was like, Chase, you only took 2 or 3 APs last year. Are you ready to take 5 in season? And he said, yeah, he was ready to do that because he wanted to have Stanford as one of his opportunities. So when you make your top 10, I don't think now, especially now with this time where you can sit down and do virtual tours, everybody's trying to figure it out. All these colleges are all online right now. Everybody's trying to make sure they have enrollment for next year. They're going to have, there was a website I went on the other day that one college, I think it was Pepperdine, and you can have a virtual tour, 360 camera, spin around, check out the campus and get a good view, and then really understand, like, hey, can you get in? And then, hey, can you play? And then have a real true ranking of your universities. Okay. Again, I kind of touched on this earlier. You guys got to have video now. I mean, everybody's watching video. So if there's video, ask your coaches if they have video, get the video, get creative, figure out iMovie, YouTube, how to use iMovie. I have no clue how to use iMovie. I figured it out in like 2 weeks. Okay. You guys with your Snapchats and Instagrams will figure it out just like that. Okay. Do a highlight reel to catch their attention. Make sure they have the extended version so they see how you really play. Okay, get a resume going. I think 2 resumes is good. Athletic, academic. Okay, within that include community service and things. And then contact them. Get all your don't just contact your top 10, but make a list of 20 schools. Contact all 20 and then go from there. It's okay to say no, but contact 20, 30, all of them, whatever. Contact them all. Get into their databases, go on their websites, fill out every questionnaire. There's no excuses now. Okay, you guys aren't doing anything. You guys are all at home. All right, click the link, get there, fill out all the pertinent information. Don't just go Alex Law, cell phone number. They're not going to call you. Alex Law, cell phone number, high school, where did you play, experience, transcripts, get it all in there and be complete. Okay, and then like I touched base earlier, this is affecting everybody. Okay, so when every school is going to be freaking out about enrollment, like you got to go out there, and every school keeps tabs of communications. I mean, if you email them, you're going to go into their database. If you visit their campus, it's going to go into their database. This is how marketing works. How do you think when you mention that you want a new video game, next thing you pop on Instagram, all of a sudden the video game is being advertised to you over and over again. I mean, this is how things work. Like, you got to get out there and let them know you're interested and do all their tours, sign up for all their newsletters, and then boom, now all of a sudden you're more of a recruited student, potential student athlete, and then you'll be getting information, and then you'll be getting more and more on their radar. Okay, but this is, again, this shelter in place is affecting everybody. Everybody's gonna figure out a way to get ahead. Okay, so these admissions from each school is going to do some kind of virtual tour, do something a little different, and you got to make sure you're there ready to kind of take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, you see, okay. There's a great question in the chat.
Yeah, what's the question?
It says UC is in Cal State. Actually, this is true for many schools right now, that they are not requiring SAT scores for admission for 2021. Yeah. I can tell you that until further notice, Dave, that NCAA, in terms of eligibility in the clearinghouse, they are going to require an SAT score. So that's like 2 different roads in the community, right? You can get admitted potentially without an official SAT score, but until otherwise noted, and this could change with the NCAA, but currently for Division I, Division II, and the clearinghouse, you'll need an SAT score.
Yeah, that can change. I didn't know how they were going to do with Pomona College. I don't know if you guys know, Pomona College is pretty it's pretty difficult to get into, and I'm not sure if Claremont's doing the same thing, but I know for sure at Pomona they're test optional right now. So things are changing, and I think that if you are interested in those schools, you call those admissions, you call the coach, you get your questions answered. But there are going to be, I mean, people, they have to. I've talked to maybe 30 recruits now, last like 2-3 weeks, and only 2 took the test. And there's no way that they're going to just admit people. They need enrollment, so there is going to be a way to do it. There is discussions. It's just right now it's happening so fast that we don't know what's going on with everybody. But for sure, this is another great way for you to reach out and contact. If I think it's kind of silly just to be like, hey coach, what's going on this week, like just the email all the time. But if you have the important questions, again, this will, I thought Coach Beamer was trending in their email box. I thought that was a really good way to think about it. Email them, ask them like, hey, how does this affect us? Is test optional? And then for sure, test optional or not, if the SATs, ACTs are available and you can do it after the summer, I would take it immediately, because if you do well, that could be another way for you to take advantage and not be behind like everybody else. You could help you separate, especially if you do well, separate yourself from other recruits. Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so these Zoom meetings, I'm not sure if this is any of your first Zoom meeting, second, but these are happening now. This is a reality. We're even talking about how effective this has been with our video, with some of our teams that we've been doing, that we might integrate Zoom meetings for our club after everything gets back to normal. But these are real. These online, webcams, conversations. This is happening all of the time. I do at least 4 a day, seems like. So you got to be ready for them. Offer them. Let the coach know you're willing to do it. And then when you do these meetings, since I've been doing these every day, like I got kids that aren't prepared. Hair's a mess, tank top. Luckily everybody's had their shirt on so far, but room's messy. You can make a background like this. You gotta think of it as like a job interview. Like you gotta be ready. You gotta look the part. You gotta be professional, and be ready for the interview, and then be ready to interview the coach. Okay, be specific. Ask them about your position. Ask them about the games. Hey, you're interviewing me. Ask me like, hey, I saw you lost to CMS your last game. Like, what happened? How are you gonna not lose to them next year? Like do something to like catch their attention and show that you are truly interested. Like for me, our schools, I represent 2 schools, but when the kid comes up to me and it's like, oh, I'm interested in going to Pomona Pitzer College, and I'm like, no, dude, we're 2 colleges. Now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, does he really understand what we're all about? But if you come at me with a more detailed question, something more specific, now I see that you're truly interested, and it's more of an engaging conversation. Because right now nobody was watching games. I can't go watch games. No one's playing games. Harvard can't fly out here and watch games. Stanford's not coming down here. SC staying at home. CBU staying at home. Nobody's watching games. So how do you differentiate yourself? Well, you got to be mature. You got to you got to hit it out of the park at the interview. You got to be engaging. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by doing your homework. You really understand what admissions looks like. You understand what the school looks like, and then you understand what their program looks like. And then I think too, another thing I didn't write here is like, ask the coach if you can set up a time for a follow-up meeting, and maybe it can involve a student athlete. I'm not sure if they can do that or not, but it's definitely an option for some programs. Okay. And then one creative thing that I saw that I really liked, that a recruit did, was like a top 5 reason why Devin Holcomb should be at University California Davis. Top 5 reason why Taylor is a perfect fit for CBU. Like give them the top 5 reasons why you would be great at their programs. I think that would really show like you understand how your personality and your history would fit in their program. And again, I thought that was really great. You know, I was talking to a college coach, and he told me that this applicant did that, and I was like, man, that's really good stuff. You know, I think right now everybody has to be creative. Everybody has to figure out how to trend upward in someone's email box. You know, you're not going to trend upward by being annoying, but if you actually send them good content, you know, good updates, I think that would help separate you right now. So that's a good idea that you guys should consider doing. Okay. All right. That's it for my presentation. Let me stop the sharing. I would love to kind of have this time now for you guys to ask questions. You can ask the college coaches or the players. I think the players have really great insight. They're all still in college. So this is a great time to ask them. Okay. Any questions? Anybody? No questions? Come on. I have a question. So the alumni, best tip for time management.
For me, it's writing my schedule down like in the week. So like I have like a little calendar book, if that makes sense, like the little planners. And like every Sunday night before before my week, I would write down like what time my classes were, what time I had practices, like what times I was planning on doing my homework. And like I just planned out my week like that because it really helped me stay on top of like what I needed to do and like what assignments were due that week and everything. So
Yeah, I mean, kind of like Taylor, like writing down. I have a planner, and then on my MacBook, there's like a sticky note thing that you can keep on your screen. And so I have that as like a running list of everything that I need to do. And this is something that may sound kind of dumb, but when I am between classes, if I have an hour break and I know I have to get stuff done, I won't go home. Or if I'm home, I'm not going to go to my room to go to my bed because I know that I'm just going to sleep. I'm not going to get ahead on schoolwork, and it's not going to be the most productive. So that's another thing that I do.
Yeah, I kind of do it here. I'll just show you. I do. Oh, you won't let me share?
No, I'll let you share some. Give me a second. Can you do now?
Yeah. Like, this is what I do. I just keep so every week, because UCLA is by the quarter system, so every week I like how Taylor said, every week. So Sunday night I go, and then I write my class, and then what dues that week. That's how I do mine. And I think that's super helpful. I think just writing what you have due every single week, you know, because in college it's not, you don't have like homework assignments. It's like, okay, you have midterm final paper and that's about it. So I think that, you know, just writing it, you know, I have it when it's done, I highlight it, and then you don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of my way of going about it. So I think that helps a lot for me.
There was a question in the chat. Can you guys, how many AP classes did you guys take?
I think I only took 2. I think I took AP English Lang and AP English Lit. I think those were the only 2 that I took.
yeah, I only took 1. I only took AP English Lang. I think that's the one you take junior year, whatever one you take junior year.
I think I took 4. I took AP Psychology, I took AP Statistics, and then I took AP Macroeconomics, and then AP Government. I took 4, yeah.
And I think too, and we'll kind of do this later too. Describe how there's a question that says how will Foothill kind of help the athletes right now, and I think it's gonna be case by case. You know, I don't think everybody needs to all of a sudden load up on APs or even take APs if it's not currently what you're doing. But I think it's gonna be case to case. Each school will treat APs a little differently. Okay. Tristan asked, how are colleges handling team visits for recruits during this time? To be honest, right now, nobody's allowed to even be recruiting right now. So for us, Division III is a little different. But right now there's kind of like a halt on recruiting. But I think when everything comes back, I think people are just going to be doing a lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom meetings. online meetings. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be prepared for these things. And then I think you should be ahead and understand how this works and offer it to them and be ready for it. Okay. Megan, Dave, I'll get to your question. That'll be my last one. Megan Holcomb asked, is there a mandatory study hall for athletes?
So at UCLA, so if you're a freshman, yes. So if you're a freshman, your entire freshman year, you have to take tutoring for every single one of your classes. So you have say you're in 3 classes, you have 3 hours a week of extra tutoring at night. So basically my freshman year, after practice, I would go straight from practice, and then we would end at about 7, and I would have tutoring from 7:30 to 8:30. So that's for 3 separate classes, 3 days a week. And then that's mandatory your freshman year. And then going after that, so sophomore, junior, senior year, it's kind of our team role. So basically, if you have under a 3.0, you have to take it no matter what for all 3 classes. Or if you got under a 3.0 the quarter previous, you have to take it for all 3 classes. So, but the only mandatory is for freshman year. You have to take it no matter what.
And that's kind of similar to my team, like our freshmen, everyone. So we kind of just have everyone on our team has mandatory study hall based on the GPA you have. And depending on that is the amount of hours you have to do per week. So I think if you have below a 2.7, you have 6 hours of study hall a week, 2.7 whatever to 2.9 is 4, 3.0 to 3.2 is 2. And then if you have above like a 3 point something, you don't have any. And so those are, we have like study hall leaders based on people's GPAs that will host study halls where you have to show up. They take attendance, report back to the coaches to make sure that we're showing up. You can get hours for study hall if you sign up for tutoring. We have individual tutoring offered to us through athletics. You get 1 free tutor per quarter. And so you can get hours for that. And then you can also get hours for going to office hours with your professor as long as you communicate with your study hall leader.
At CBU, it is our first semester, our freshman year, you are required to do, I think it's 6 hours a week of study hall. So you either have to go into the library and sign in, or you have to go, we have this center called the Offices for Student Success, and that's where you have like all your tutors for all your classes and whatnot. So you have to sign in there, and based on the grades you get for your first semester determines whether or not you have to continue going to study hall. Because after the first semester, it's not mandatory. But like any new student or any new athlete coming into CBU's program has to go through those mandatory 6 hours. Like it doesn't matter if you're transferring in from a junior or if you're a freshman, like you have to do those hours. And then if your GPA falls below, I think it's a 3.0, then you have to continue doing study hours. And then our academic advisor monitors those hours every week.
Did volunteer work or clubs help you guys with the application process?
I think that it definitely helps you stand out. Like obviously a coach is looking for your athletic ability, but they also want to make sure that you're a good person. You're going to be good in the academics as well. So I think for me at least, and I know with my coach, Jamie Wright, he is really big on water polo isn't forever and wanting to have us be good individuals. So I think that was something that he really took to heart that I included.
Yeah, I think sometimes when it comes to the clubs and those volunteer hour stuff, I think it really depends on the school too. You know, so sometimes the school will take it more seriously than others, and sometimes some won't even care really. So I think it definitely doesn't. I don't know if it necessarily will help you every time, but it definitely doesn't hurt to do it. And then of course there are things like I know sometimes at some of the private schools, like there's art majors and music majors, but there's not a lot of those students in there. So sometimes if you minor in music or show interest in those lesser minors, sometimes that could help too. So in reality, you know, I think you just kind of see if it kind of helps like set yourself apart. How does a student athlete help? How has being a student athlete helped in college? Any advantages?
I think, well, first of all, like we said, you get free tutoring. That the one at UCLA is only offered to athletes. So I think, that's huge. You get, at least for my freshman year, you get an academic advisor you have to meet with once a week for an hour. So they're going to check in and they're going to tell you what you have due in terms of homework wise. Picking out a major. Not everybody comes in knowing what they want to do. So, they help you take classes that are geared for, letting you succeed in knowing what you want to do once you're out of college. And then I think the other thing for me is just keeping a schedule. If you have practice, X amount of hours a day, like the other hours, like you have to do your homework. Like there's no other time to, because you're going to be so busy. So I think just, it keeps you with a set schedule. And like, for me, like right now, like I'm home. So like, there's not much to do. So I think like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do homework. Like I just want to sit on the couch. Whereas like, if I'm in when you're practicing, in a schedule 3-4 hours a day, then like you come home and you're like, oh, I have to get this done because there's no other time to, because, I have to wake up tomorrow and do it all again. So I think just with time management and, getting into a rhythm and, yeah.
And that question was from Allie Marie, and I don't know if you guys know Allie Marie. She has an older brother at a Division III college, Whittier College to be specific. And at Division III, actually, there's no special treatment for athletes. But at most Division III schools, since they're private universities, there is a lot of help. And I think oftentimes that's why students go D3, because there's more help. So I think oftentimes, like, if there are these opportunities for help, you guys got to take advantage. It's kind of funny at Pomona, we're a highly academic school, but it's like it's easier to get help at the smaller schools, and the better students normally get help earlier. So, and I know Allie's older sister's also at another Division III, and I'm sure her experience is very similar. Smaller classroom, smaller size. So, it's just, for D3s, D2s, D1s, the experience is a little different. But again, you have to do your homework and do your research to kind of see like what kind of experience you're looking for. Okay. I don't think there's any more questions, so we'll kind of wrap it up. Foothill, I know this is a weird time, but we're here for you guys. That's why we're trying to do all these kind of videos, workout videos, educational video. I wanted to jump on this college night right away and kind of talk to everybody who's interested in using water polo as an avenue. For sure, scholarships are for sure like a few and far between for the athletes for water polo, but a college coach writing an email or a letter of support to help you get into the college, I think that is huge. So you might not be getting scholarship money, but definitely an in or to help separate yourself and the head coach helping you get in. I think that is kind of like the new scholarship. That's the ticket into a lot of these tough schools. So for us at Foothill, we're for sure gonna be there for you guys. Between me, A-Rod, Beamer, Coach Lonzo, all you guys can email any of us, and we will definitely have one-on-one time for you guys. We're definitely going to spread it out amongst the 4 coaches, but for sure, if you're interested in meeting via Zoom, via Skype, FaceTime, or just corresponding through email, just email any of us, and we'll kind of sit down and talk about and kind of be like your guidance counselor through this process during this summer, since it's difficult. I have already written several emails and have several conversations to college coaches about our athletes that are interested in recruiting. I think when you have these discussions with us, I think obviously if you're on the guy side, you should be messaging Greg or myself. If you're on the girl side, you should be emailing Beamer or myself. But when you are talking to us, I think you got to be ready for us to say something like, hey, you know what, that might not be a good fit, or hey, that's a good fit, or hey, if you go there, you might have to fight for your playing time, or hey, if you go there, you're gonna play right away. Like, you got to be open to those discussions, because I've definitely been in those meetings before where I'm like, hey, you know what, I don't know if this is a good fit for you. You got to be ready for this, and there was like a lot of not tension, but like, feedback where I didn't think it was very very helpful. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready for that. But I just want you guys to know that since you are a part of our club, Just because, we're not pressing, that doesn't mean we're not here for you. So for sure, email us, email whoever you want, and we'll go from there. We will set up an hour meeting or something, or whether FaceTime or through Zoom. I think Zoom will be helpful. That way you can prepare for yourself. If you do need to do this will be a way for you to practice having a meeting online, and then we can help with your resume. We can help writing a letter. If it's just a simple letter, like, hey, if you got your resume, you're ready to go, and you just want us to kind of just speak about you to the coach, that won't be a problem. We'll do that. But I think you guys got to reach out to us first. Okay. Alumni, thank you. You guys are amazing people. I miss yelling at all of you. Beamer, Lonzo, any final words to everybody?
I think kind of just what you said. Use us here at the club as a resource, right? I mean, one of the biggest objectives of our club, not just to make water polo better in our area, is to get you guys off and playing at schools, right? So help us help you.
I think just try to keep working positively forward right now. I know it's a tough time for everybody, but on the backside of all this stuff, you're gonna want to come out of it feeling better. Try different things, work out, keep a routine to your life, because it's hard to get back into one once you break it. So all these alumni are telling you about their routines in college. They've probably done a little adjustment to their routines, but tried to keep the same relative routine of what they're doing on a regular basis daily. So it's good to keep routine, keep working out, keep training, and keep trying to work forward.
On the chat, you'll see our emails on there. Please write them down so you have them. And Coach Lonzo, could you put your email up there as well? Thank you. And then you guys can copy and paste and keep these for your records, and then contact us. The last kind of final thing I want to touch on, I don't know if you guys have me on your Instagram, or I'm sure you guys have seen it, but this Save College Sports, this is real, this is happening. I don't know if water polo is like in huge jeopardy, but there is a consideration right now for the NC2A to mandate sports to have less, so like, for example, if the minimum to be D1 is 16, they're thinking about cutting it under 10. So then non-revenue sports, water polo being one of them, may be in jeopardy of being cut. Our sport has really grown in the last 5 years. Our director at USA Water Polo, John Abdu, has done a great job of getting programs started. And our sport is trending upward, but this may be a scenario where it might push back. Sonoma State has cut their program. Their program's been around, I think, since like the late 90s. They just cut their program. They're not Division I, they're Division II, but they did cut their program to budgetary reasons. And Urbana College went all online, and they actually just stopped their campus, shut down their entire campus. So funding and money is affecting everybody, and hopefully that we can kind of, I don't know if we can stop the NC2A from doing what they're doing, but at least have our voice be heard and kind of slow the process down. But if you visit this website, savecollegesports.com, you can kind of get a little more information and sign a petition. I think it will be helpful. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good night. I think it's not too late. Maybe you can jump on Chef Gillen's show. But right now, every day there's content from Foothill. You guys can jump online and see. I do a video analysis actually on two of Chase's games his freshman year. If you guys want to come join me on Wednesday, you can direct message me or email me. You want to jump on that. I got the game on video. I can send you the link and you can check out the video. Then join me on Wednesday. On Tuesday night, head coach A-Rod does an analysis as well. You can jump on him. I know through the week we have different things going on. So check out our Instagram page and see what we're putting out there. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Good job, crew.
Gotta hop over to Gillen's and make some dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, Brady just sent me a picture of it. I guess he's done with dinner. She's already made it.
Oh, he already made it.
Yeah,
He's quick, dude.
apparently.
All right, guys. Well, have a good night.
Chase, Taylor, Devin, thank you guys. That was cool.
Yeah, Chase, you guys are amazing.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Tell your parents I said hi. I miss them all.
I know. I will.
Will do.
Once I want to see the new baby.
Yeah, tell them they can
You
FaceTime
need-
me. I'll
If you
introduce
need
them.
if you need a babysitter, I'm
Who,
here.
you?
Yeah, I got it.
Actually, I do trust you.
All right.
Taylor,
Bye, guys.
I got Alexandra to swim.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. Yeah, finally.
Did you throw away her thing? Did you throw away her vest?
No, she just didn't want it. She forgot about it.
Really? That's surprising. That surprises me.
Yeah,
There's just one
Are
day
you-
she's like, I don't want it.
yeah. Are you doing a good job sheltering in place? I might pay for you to come over to give her more swim lessons.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you might want to wait a while just because both my parents are nursing
Oh, yeah, that's right. I
and
forgot
they're
about
working
that.
in the hospital. But
Oh, I totally forgot about your parents.
yeah. But hey, you know what? None of us have had signs of it, so I think we're doing pretty good.
All right. After this craziness, then.
Yeah, after the craziness. But I will for sure come down. I would love to do that.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm out. I'm gonna eat dinner. Thanks, guys.